Yo, what's up, my wrestling peeps? It's your boy E here with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of dig right on into it, thank you for tuning into the show. We love you guys. We have a great show for you guys lined up. We have our WWE Raw review, WWE NXT preview. We also talk WrestleMania is going to Las Vegas, so should be pretty exciting to see what they have in store in terms of like the wrestling world and stuff like that. Also, finally capping it off, we have our Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Well, before we go any further, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top of the list so I can see it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to further talk about. Give me your predictions, projected storylines, etc., etc. And it really helps the show, guys. A positive review goes a long way. So again, the link is the GSMC, podcast.net. So let's go ahead and get on with our first segment. We're going to talk about WWE Monday Night Raw. Sorry, excuse me. So it turned out Drew McIntyre has not been medically cleared to compete in the WWE Men's King of the Ring, which is kind of a curveball, but it's one of those curveballs. Well, okay, cool. Now we have like kind of like some mysterious, some mysterious factor to it. It's kind of mystique, you know what I mean? So. Also, I just wanted to mention that when Judgment Day started the show coming out, you saw Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough, along with their leader, Damian Priest. When Damian Priest was talking, you saw them looking behind and ultimately kind of leading toward a betrayal kind of thing, like just waiting for the perfect time to strike against the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So I thought that was pretty crazy. But he did kind of throw a curveball when he apologized to the Judgment Day. He apologized. He said, "I'm sorry and thank you so much." He said, uh, to Finn Balor that he's my brother and stuff like that. Pretty cool. I like it how they're still kind of, WWE's like muddying up the waters. Like you want to see clearly that there's going to be a breakup between the Judgment Day and the betrayal and stuff like that. But you may never know. It is professional wrestling. This is what makes professional wrestling so profound is that, the art of unpredictability. So, if they're kind of, heading toward that way, 110%, that's going to be totally awesome. But I think they did a pretty good job. But ultimately, I still think they're going to break up. I don't want to break any of your guys' Judgment Day fans' hearts out there, but, just being real. So once when Drew McIntyre was announced that he was not medically cleared, Finn Balor automatically assumed that, hey, get first round bye, and then they're all celebrating the Judgment Day, and then of course Adam Pearce comes out, WWE Raw general manager, comes out and he said no first round bye. Guess what? Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso against Finn Balor again. Ultimately, it was a good match. It was a really, really good match, but Jay picked up the one with the spear. Drew McIntyre even came out to try to blur the lines and try to distract Jey Uso, but ultimately it was, to no avail. And then they showed Becky Lynch in the stadium. Kind of cool to see the WWE World Women's Champion, World's Heavyweight Champion. I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, Becky Lynch, she has a main match going into Saudi Arabia, a King and Queen of the Ring. She's gonna fight Liv Morgan. So, definitely excited to see that. You can just see Drew McIntyre has lost it. Drew McIntyre has completely lost it. He really honestly doesn't know he doesn't know the world of wrestling that doesn't include CM Punk. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so usually when it comes to the antagonist and the face, or the antagonist playing the heel in this situation, you don't really necessarily think of Drew McIntyre as a heel. I know I don't. I know he's trying to like do it like where he's yelling at the crowd and this and that and the other. But he's just one of those superstars that are trying to bank on the fact that he did kind of get screwed, but then again, like I said in the past podcast before, that if Drew McIntyre was a responsible champion, he would have knew that Judgment Day's Damian Priest was lurking in the back with the money in the case briefcase, and ultimately he ignored that fact, went over and talked to Punk. Punk attacked him at WrestleMania 40, ultimately costing him his chance of still being the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And of course, you saw Drew McIntyre drive off angrily in a actually pretty sweet car, pretty nice car. And then CM Punk showed up after. He waited for Drew McIntyre, and it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of funny. Then you saw the QR code once again for the Uncle Howdy promotion. But CM Punk came out and he was talking about how at the Royal Rumble, how Drew McIntyre tore his tricep and it delayed his WrestleMania dreams. But at the same time, it did and it didn't. He's still going to be in WWE. He's going to work really, really hard. CM Punk's going to have to, definitely rehab that injury. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to see the cult of personality definitely on the main stage in Las Vegas, WrestleMania 41. So that should be pretty awesome to look, excited about. And I don't know, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then he had this to say. CM Punk said, "You try so hard to be me. You are essentially trying to be the CM Punk of WWE. So, Drew, do you hate me or do you hate yourself?" So I thought that was pretty deep. Definitely something that Drew McIntyre has been doing. Like when CM Punk wasn't here in the WWE, when he was still with AEW, he was kind of like that. Just to stand up to everyone, all things that were wrong. He spoke out about it, and he was a worthy champion. Drew McIntyre was a great champion, but ultimately, like he fell short. But I don't know. Like it said, Drew McIntyre has done so much to the point where CM Punk says it's unforgiving consequences for his actions that are ultimately going to lead to his demise, which is, pretty accurate, pretty spot on in terms of CM Punk. So, he mentioned something about Glasgow with the Clash at the Castle. Should be interesting. So, moving on, we have the WWE Women's Queen of the Ring qualifying match. Well, not qualifying match, kind of like bracket match or something like that. First round. We'll just say first round. We get Io Sky versus Natalia. Once again, I, kind of mentioned in a prior podcast that it would make no sense for Natalia to win, especially when they're trying to groom her up to kind of be like in that NXT role. Definitely think Natalia is going to be definitely one of the names that are going to be in that ladder match in terms of battleground for the WWE Women's NXT North American Championship. I'm 1,010% sure I said that wrong, but I think Natalia, she's a shoo-in. She's a shoo-in to that match. Will they put the strap on her? Not, I'm not too sure if they're gonna put the belt on Natalia, but ultimately, I love the way she is. She's obviously a cold-hearted veteran, could teach young superstars a lot, especially in the ring. So I think it's beneficial for NXT to have Natalia on their rosters. So I was kind of glad to see that she wasn't able to pick up a victory. Of course, I still feel bad. I'm like, oh man, it sucks. When you lose a match, it sucks. But ultimately, I like seeing Natalia down in the NXT. So good for Io Sky. She wins. Damage control, putting people on notice. Oscar turned out to be injured. Didn't know that. She was definitely one of my. She was one of my heavy hitters, man. She was. I had high hopes for her. I definitely had high hopes for her winning this Queen of the Ring. She's injured. Ultimately, her place was taken by Dakota Kai. Fight breaks out where Becky Lynch was attacked by Damage Control. Well, at first it was kind of like a standoff between Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, and then Damage Control came out, and then Liv Morgan bailed, leaving Becky all by herself. But none other than the former WWE NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria, came out, and she ultimately helped Becky. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then that's when the match, officially began, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Next, we have the Mad Dragon. The Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, fought Ricochet for the first round of the men's King of the Ring. I thought it was a great match. It was definitely, like I said before, definitely keep your eye on this match for potentially being the kind of like the heart stopper, kind of like the showstopper of the show. And it really did. It really did. It proved dividends. And it was an amazing match. Probably one of the best matches that was on the featured match card in terms of the, WWE Raw. But ultimately, you can't have those two superstars move on. Sucks. Love Ricochet, the new WWE Speed Champion. But it was time for Ilya Dragunov to spread his wings, make it to the second round, and I'm for it. I thought that was definitely pretty cool. Next, we have Ivy Nile in the first round of the WWE Women's Queen of the Ring. Ivy Nile against Zoe Stark. this kind of turned out the way I kind of thought it was going to. That it started off a little slow. It started off like both these women were kind of testing the waters to see how both of them fight, their fighting style and stuff like that. But it came down to Zoe Stark being the professional she is, having her experience, and Ivy Nile. One of those matches, once again, where kind of like if you lose, you still kind of win. You put up a good match against Zoe Stark, 1,010% of the time you're going to get recognized. And with that experience, could help you move forward, could help you get a lot better, especially in the terms of WWE. So good for, bad, good and bad for Ivy Nile, but she ain't going nowhere. Definitely think that her and Maxine Dupree should, you know, try to challenge Bianca and Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. I think that's kind of like more their range and division. But should be interesting to see where WWE takes them. Next, you saw UConn head coach Dan Hurley. UConn basketball, college basketball, they won back-to-back national championships. You saw WWE World Tag Team Champs looking for new competitors. Should be, definitely something for the R-Truth is going to happen within the next, next SmackDown for sure, just so they can get a match at Saudi Arabia, King and Queen of the Ring. And then you saw Chad Gable. Chad Gable fought Bronson Reed in a one-on-one match. A lot of turmoil between Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed. Sami Zayn broke up the match. He broke it up. He went in, and he was just absolutely frustrated, absolutely pissed off, and you know, and another one. I know we're running out of time. Carlito tries to join the Judgment Day. I thought that was pretty funny. Damian Priest was like, "All right, get him out of here," and Dominic Mysterio kind of wants him to come in. There could be maybe a circumstance where Carlito comes in as like a replacement for Damian Priest, not like a replacement because nobody could replace Senor Money in the Bank, but I think that this is kind of like building up for like a Finn Balor to be kind of the leader and kind of keeping that fourth guy in Judgment Day. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see Carlito, break that barrier and find himself in the Judgment Day bond between Dominic Mysterio, Carlito, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough. So it wouldn't surprise me there. They also announced that there's going to be two matches in terms of the King and Queen of the Ring at the live events. You're going to see Kofi Kingston fight Rey Mysterio. And then I believe from the women's side, you're going to see Zelina fight. Oh, man, I can't believe I forgot. Can't believe I forgot. Queen Zelina defending her crown. Hopefully she wins. If she doesn't, not a big deal. Still talented. So, yeah. Kofi Kingston took Xavier Woods' spot, kind of like what we were talking about, how he took a beating from Gunther, but Kofi Kingston came in to help his former friend, well, not his former friend, his current friend, his best buddy, the New Day, of course. And next week we have Jay Uso against Ilya Dragunov, Lyra Valkyria against Zoe Stark. And then the main event featured Sheamus versus Gunther. Kind of knew how this match was going to go. Gunther got a little help from Ludwig Kaiser, but we all knew that eventually Gunther was going to find a way to win, and he did. Not taking anything away from him. That's what happens in professional wrestling. Sometimes you get a little help from your friends. So yeah, well, don't go anywhere. We're gonna continue with the show. Segment 2, WWE NXT preview. So hey, don't go anywhere.